In 1916, three industrial pioneers, Karl Rapp, Franz Josef Popp, and Camillo Castiglione, each combined their visions in Munich to build more than just an engine. They created the foundation for a machine that would eventually define the standard of German dominance on the global stage. It was the birth of the ultimate driving ethos, a commitment to engineering so precise, so aggressive, and so visually commanding that the rest of the world's luxury market would be forced to play catch-up. BMW began building aircraft engines for the German military, and by 1923 had produced its first motorcycle. By 1929, it had built its first car. By the 1970s, it had created the M Division, a skunkworks team of engineers tasked with one objective: build the most capable driver's cars on Earth, at every price point, with no compromises that couldn't be justified at 150 miles per hour. Today, that legacy spans 7 distinct levels: an ownership hierarchy that begins at $41,000 and ends somewhere above $1.3 million, in a garage that most people will never see the inside of. This is the 7 levels of BMW, and by the time we reach the top, you will understand that this was never really about transportation. At level 1, the BMW X1 gets you through the brand's front door for around $41,000. And in that transaction, something specific happens that doesn't occur when you buy a comparable vehicle from a less loaded brand. You join a global community of ownership that carries cultural weight entirely disproportionate to its entry price. The X1 gives buyers the badge, the kidney grille, the iDrive interface, the dealer relationship, and immediate access to a brand hierarchy that has been engineered over a century. It is a compact crossover that drives with a precision and intention that its competitors at the same price point cannot fully replicate. Because BMW's suspension tuning philosophy, established in Munich and refined on the Nürburgring, reaches all the way down to the entry tier in ways that the competition's does not. The X1 is what you buy when you've decided that the badge matters, not as vanity, but as a statement about the standard you've chosen to hold yourself to. But while the X1 gives buyers access to the badge, the next level introduces the machine that truly built BMW's global reputation, and without which none of the rest of this hierarchy would exist. Level 2, the BMW 3 Series, entering at approximately $46,000, is not simply a car. It is the most continuously refined compact executive sedan in automotive history, a model that has been in continuous production since 1975, has won more comparison tests against its competition than any other vehicle in its class, and has been described by 3 successive generations of automotive journalists using a single phrase: the benchmark. The 3 Series is what BMW is, distilled. It is what happens when an engineering culture decides that every single component, the steering weight, the brake pedal feel, the shift gate of the manual gearbox, the angle of the A-pillar relative to the driver's sightline, is worth arguing about until it is correct. At $46,000, you are not buying a car. You are buying an argument that has been resolved by engineers over 5 decades. And the resolution is precise. At level 3, the BMW 5 Series, entering at approximately $59,000, represents a threshold that has nothing to do with horsepower and everything to do with what the car communicates about the person inside it. The step from the 3 Series to the 5 Series is, in the language that the BMW lineup speaks, the transition from successful professional to established executive. The wheelbase is longer, the cabin is quieter, the rear seat becomes genuinely livable rather than theoretically acceptable. The materials improve in ways that are immediately apparent to anyone who has spent time in both. And the 5 Series carries a specific professional gravity, the car that senior partners, managing directors, and regional vice presidents arrive in, that the 3 Series, for all its brilliance, does not quite project. At around $59,000, you are paying not just for more car, but for a different conversation about who you are when you get out of it. But while the 5 Series marks the arrival of executive success, the next level belongs to a category that requires no translation in any language, in any country, in any economic system on Earth. At level 4, the BMW 7 Series, entering at approximately $98,000, is the flagship. It is a rolling boardroom. It is the machine that heads of state, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and the diplomats who travel between them ride in when they need to work while moving through a city that cannot be allowed to stop for them. The 7 Series features a rear seat experience, particularly in the executive lounge specification, that positions the passenger not as a passenger, but as a principal. Reclining seats with massage function, a 31-inch rear entertainment screen, ambient lighting in 36 colors, and a level of acoustic isolation from the outside world so complete that you could hold a board meeting at motorway speeds without raising your voice. At $98,000, it is the most attainable, unreachable car BMW makes. The price of entry is one number. The room it puts you in is another. At level 5, the BMW M3, entering at approximately $78,000, is where the luxury conversation ends and the performance conversation begins in earnest. The M3 is not a luxury car that also goes fast. It is a motorsport-derived precision instrument that has been made comfortable enough to use as a daily vehicle by people who understand the difference between comfort and softness. Its 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged S58 inline-six produces 503 horsepower in base form and 510 in competition specification, numbers that place it in the same performance bracket as cars that cost 3 times as much. And its chassis, developed partly from BMW's DTM touring car program, is capable of resolving corners at speeds that require a specific kind of commitment from the driver before the car will show you what it is capable of. The M3 is not a status symbol for people who want to be seen. It is a status symbol for people who want to drive, and who understand that those two things are not the same. But while the M3 channels its aggression through athletic precision, the next level abandons athletic restraint entirely and enters the realm of sheer, unapologetic excess. I break systems like this every week. Subscribe if you want to follow along. Let's get back into it. At level 6, the BMW XM, entering at approximately $160,000, is the most divisive vehicle in BMW's current lineup, which is almost certainly deliberate. Its V8 plug-in hybrid drivetrain produces 644 horsepower. Its dimensions are closer to a small building than a conventional SUV. Its grille is the largest BMW has ever fitted to a production vehicle, a design choice that has provoked reactions ranging from reverence to genuine hostility, often from the same people in the same week. The XM is the kind of vehicle that politely announces you have stopped checking fuel prices. It is BMW's statement that at a certain level of financial confidence, subtlety becomes optional. And it is, once you accept its premise completely, one of the most capable and technologically sophisticated large performance vehicles on the market. Level 6 is not for people who need approval. It is for people who have moved beyond needing it. And at level 7, the Summit, there is only one car, the 2023 BMW 3.0 CSL. 50 units, hand-built over 3 months at the same Dingolfing facility that assembles Rolls-Royce bodies. 560 horsepower from a 3.0-liter inline-six, BMW's most power-dense 6-cylinder engine ever made, delivered to the rear wheels through a 6-speed manual gearbox, because at this level, the engineers decided that the driver deserved to be involved. Each car required 6,700 individual manual work sequences in the paint shop alone, for a production run of 50 vehicles. The body panels are almost entirely carbon fiber, hand-painted in alpine white, with M Sport livery applied by artisans who also paint the cars that race at Le Mans. Each interior is numbered sequentially from number 1/50 to number 50/50, stamped into the carbon trim, permanent, non-transferable, a document of exactly where in the production sequence your car existed in the hands of the people who built it. The original retail price was $780,000. Examples are now trading above $1.3 million. The car is not homologated for the United States. Most of the 50 examples will never be driven in anger by their owners. They will be kept at perfect temperature, in perfect condition, appreciating, because a car this rare, This connected to BMW's founding motorsport ideology. This precisely positioned at the intersection of heritage and modern engineering does not depreciate. It compounds. BMW began in a Bavarian factory making aircraft engines in 1916. It arrives at its own summit in 2023 with a hand-built, carbon-bodied, manual gearbox limited edition that exists in an edition of 50. The hierarchy from the X1 to the 3.0 CSL is not a product range. It is a philosophy. The belief that every level of engagement with a vehicle should feel precisely calibrated to the person experiencing it, and that at the very top, the reward for ascending the ladder should be something that cannot be ordered, cannot be rushed, and cannot be replicated. At level 7, you are no longer a BMW customer. You are a custodian of something that 50 people on Earth were allowed to own. The highest level of BMW isn't measured in horsepower, it is measured in access, and 50 is the only number that matters. So now the question comes to you. Which level of BMW would you choose if money wasn't an issue? Would you take the executive luxury of the 7 Series, the aggressive power of the XM, or the ultra-rare 3.0 CSL that most people will never even see in person? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, we've got another incredible luxury story waiting for you right here on Wall Street Wolfie. Don't forget to give this video a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell. Because on this channel, we explore the cars, wealth, status symbols, and elite lifestyles that define the top 1%. I'll see you in the next one.